Let's get the latest on the Russia investigation out of Washington. The White House press secretary says she is unaware of any conversations about a possible presidential pardon for former Trump campaign chairman Paul Manafort.
Special counsel's office announcing last night that Manafort lied to them and therefore violated his plea deal. His lawyers denying he misled investigators. They're also denying a report in the British newspaper The Guardian that Manafort met with the founder of WikiLeaks, Julian Assange, right after joining the Trump campaign. These new developments meaning that Manafort may go from a sentence of only a few years to life in prison. Joining us now to talk more about all of this is former Assistant U.S. Attorney David Weinstein. David, thanks so much for being with us.
You're welcome, Dan.
If Manafort lied to investigators, how could he possibly think he could get away with it?
Because like many defendants, he thinks he's smarter than the people that are investigating what misconduct he's committed. He believes that there is no proof that he either made a different statement or that somebody else made a different statement, or in the case of Assange, that they can prove by a picture or by a document that he actually went in and met with him. So he's going to stick to his story and he's going to say, I did A, B, C, and D, despite the fact that other people know he did more than A, B, C, and D.
Well, if he's not cooperating with the Mueller people, how much damage would this cause their investigation, especially if they want to link Paul Manafort to Julian Assange of WikiLeaks?
A guy like Mueller who's been through this before and who knows how the process plays out, and we saw a lot of that in the trial that Manafort had in the Eastern District of Virginia. He has a plan, and he knows what he needs to make this plan go to the end and go to fruition. Manafort could have been another witness to help him lock down a certain part of the investigation, to corroborate information he got from somebody else, but I don't think that he was just relying on him. He would have been helpful to him if he had him there. It would have bolstered somebody else's testimony. So he loses a witness, but I don't think he's going to lose his entire investigation.
Wouldn't it also just make sense that if he was lying to Mueller, what good is he anyway? Why not bring that to the forefront and move on to the next witness who may provide better information?
You're absolutely right, because once he is proven to be a liar and once the judge is convinced that he has in fact lied, he's not really that good as a witness anymore for anybody.
Now, we've talked about this before in the past where collusion is not an actual crime. So what are we looking at here if indeed there was a meeting between Paul Manafort and Julian Assange?
You know, it's one of those words that we split hairs about. There's another C word that is a crime, conspiracy. If two people collude together with criminal intent to commit an unlawful act, then you're committing a conspiracy. Just meeting with Assange to talk about something, that's not a conspiracy. But to meet with him to specifically get information or to leak information or to allow another co-conspirator to have access to certain information, that's not collusion, that's a conspiracy.
What about all this talk about a possible pardon? I know you don't have a crystal ball, but if you were Manafort, do you think he has had conversations with people in the White House alluding to the fact that, hey, don't give them any more information, we'll take care of you on the backside?
Wouldn't bet the house on it,
yeah,
but I'd bet a paycheck or two on it. He had to have had these conversations. But the problem with the pardon is that he'll be pardoned for his federal crimes. The president cannot pardon him for violating state crimes. If he breached the state tax laws in New York, in Virginia, those attorney generals can come after him. And all the admissions he's made in this case, in the trial case in Virginia, in this plea agreement, admissions he's made during his debriefings that are not lies, they can use all of those against him to build a case against him.
One last question, we'll let you go. There's a new sheriff in town at the Justice Department. His name is Matt Whitaker, and he is not a fan of this investigation. Could he or somebody else be rushing this along and rushing this to come to a conclusion?
They might try to rush Bob Mueller along. But for people who know Bob Mueller and have followed him and have seen how he takes care of himself in investigations he's conducting, he's not a man to be rushed. Be careful what you wish for. He's closing in on the end of his investigation. Don't push him to get there before he wants to get there, but he'll get to the end when he wants to get to the end.
Sarah Sanders saying several times during the press conference the White House wants to see this brought to an end soon, so we'll see who wins on that front. David Weinstein, thank you so much for being with us. We always appreciate your insight.
You're welcome. Glad to help.
Thank you, David.